All right. Shalom, Akim. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone that rule well. And blessings and shalom to sincere Akim that's pushing his word on the four corners of the earth in all truth and sincerity. Now, I'm back with another edition of GMS study session through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. And the topic of the study session is going to be based around Christmas and New Year's, all right? Because Christmas and New Year's is one of the big holidays that's being celebrated here in America, which those of us who are learned, which we know as Babylon the Great, which the Bible speaks of, all right? And before I read this article, I would like to bring something out real quick, because usually when it comes to everything that you see around you, like buildings and structures and also like religions and things like that and ideas, they all have an origin. Okay. And, it's up to us as men of the Lord to seek these things out. All right. And to find out the origins and to bring it out and to bring it to light so that, the sincere Akim out there, the elect, are able to get a hold of this information and to learn from it. All right. So, and I actually have two articles here that I'm going to bring out. First, I'm going to focus on Christmas, and then I'm going to get on New Year's. And then after that, I'm going to bring out some scriptures here. And if you want to follow along in the scriptures, you can go to blueletterbible.org, and I'm going to have the link in the description. All right. Now, this is mystery babylon.org /Christmas-HTML. Really is the title is a Babylon connection to Christmas. All right. And I pretty much ran through the article, but I went ahead and highlighted the point that actually goes into the history of Christmas. All right. And I'm gonna read some parts of this. I'm not gonna read all of it because the whole article in itself is very lengthy. All right. So I'm gonna start here, and it reads: when we examine Christmas through the looking glass of history and measure it by the yardstick of Scripture, it becomes very clear that the rituals, practiced, and the customs followed today are simply variations of the ceremonies invented by Nimrod and Semiramis, all right, and practiced by the ancient pagans many years ago. Nimrod encouraged idolatry to such an extent that the very word Babylon became synonymous with false worship, and that's basically the gist of that's how America is today. All right, it's all into like pagan worship and false doctrines, and basically America is just one big falsified entity. All right, and continue reading. Semiramis' son Tammuz was born at the winter solstice, solstice around December 25th. Tammuz became a god in the eyes of the people. The Christmas tree in the Yule log used today were first, Yule log is basically, I believe it's talking about the Christmas tree. Used today were first used to celebrate the birth of Tammuz and what became an annual religious festival in ancient pagan Babylon. The celebration of the birthday of Tammuz was always a wild, drunken orgy and was a favorite festival among the pagans. See, because that also goes into Roman, that also goes into a Roman history where I believe it's on here. No, it's not. Actually, I actually read up on when the Romans took up this custom, and they call it the Saturnalia. All right, and if you want to look it up, you can look up the Saturnalia, because the Saturnalia is during the time of December. All right, and the Romans basically took part in debauchery and all types of wickedness. All right, so during the winter solstice around December 25th, basically when you celebrate, Christmas, you're basically celebrating celebration of the sun god. All those people, everybody that's here in America that's celebrating Christmas right now, you're doing nothing but celebrating, Tammuz, which was looked at as a god, all right, or the sun god, all right, which is a pagan worship, in which our people, the Israelites, should have no association with that as well. All right. But only the elect are going to understand, and only the elect are going to get away from that. All right. Reading on, despite the number of times the Santa legend is told. All right. Now this is going into Santa Claus. All right. big chubby elf guy, which in red, visits children at night and stuff like that, man. It's nothing but wickedness. Despite the number of times the Santa legend is told, the magical Saint Nicholas to Santa Claus fairy tale is simply not true. Of course it's not. It doesn't take a genius to tell you that, man. And if I'm gonna say this too, man. If some of y'all out there that still believe in Santa Claus, man, you need to check yourself, man, because you got some problems. All right, if you think that Santa Claus still exists to this day, all right. So where did Santa come from? Many Santa researchers agreed that some traits of Santa were borrowed from Norse Scandinavian mythology, which is true because if you go all the way down, I'm not going to read all this. I'm gonna have the article on the link in the description as well, but I'm gonna go down to where it talks about Thor. All right. Now, down here where it says Thor was the god of the peasants and the common people. He was represented as an elderly man, jovial and friendly, of heavy build with a long white beard. His element was fire. Okay, fire. His color red. The fireplace in every home was sacred to him, and he was said to come down through the chimney into his element, the fire. Thor was said to drive in a chariot drawn by two white goats called Cracker and Nasher. And this bullshit. He fought the giants of ice and snow, so he became known as the Yule god. He was said to live in the Northland, where he had his palace among icebergs. Okay, so it says his element was fire and his color red. The fireplace in every home was sacred to him, and he was said to come down through the chimney into his element, the fire. That's synonymous with Molech, all right, which is also worshipped in Babylon. Okay, which is also God. They worship the god of the sun. They also worship Molech, all right, and that's also heavy here in America as well. The worship of Molech. The giant owl that you see, it's a giant owl also in the Bohemian Grove. When they perform sacrifices to the giant owl, which is which they know as Molech, and also the owl, you can barely see it on the dollar bill, which is by the number 1 on the dollar bill. You can also see that small owl hiding by the number 1. All right. So once again, man, America is real heavy into worshiping of Molech and the worshiping of the god of the sun god. All right, which during the Babylonians, I believe I also brought this out in another video I did about the connection between Babylon, Rome, and America. I stated that Nimrod was basically looked at as a deity. All right, and they worshipped him as a god, and they worshipped him as the sun god. And this is the same thing with Tammuz. All right, because they believe that Tammuz was Nimrod reincarnated. All right. So reading on, I think I'm gonna start from. I'm gonna read a little bit of this right here. There's little known truth in the life of the Santa legend that time and tradition have purposely and silently erased. Few people are aware that for most of his life, Saint Nicholas, aka Sinterklaas, Christkind, and other names, had an unusual helper or companion. The mysterious, bizarre sidekick had many names and aliases. He was known as Nicht, Ruprecht, Pals Nickel, Ruklaus, Swarthy, Dark One, Dark Helper, Black Peter, which, man, the Dark One, Dark Helper, Black Peter, man, that should ring a bell. Hans Trop, Grumpus, Zwarty PS, and so on and so forth. Let me just continue on. He was also known by much darker names such as Demon, Evil One, the Devil, and Satan. Now, get this, man. Satan, as we all know, man, he comes in many names. All right. So there you go. This fact is well documented. Most religious historians and experts in folklore believe that there is no valid evidence to indicate that Saint Nicholas ever existed as a human. All right. Skip down to down here. The church leaders at that time are responsible for a great fraud upon society, which has never been corrected to this day. Of both, should be Yahushua there, of both Yahushua's birthday and the celebration of such as and that of Santa Claus. All right. I'll move down a little bit. The origins of many of our cherished customs come from Babylonian sun worship, and over the years, all right, have been cleverly absorbed into Christianity, the Nimrod tree. Now, before I continue on, basically it was it was absorbed into Christianity because of the early Roman Catholic Church, right? Because the early Roman Catholic Church had indoctrinated a lot of pagan beliefs, all right? Because once again, man, you had it set up through Constantine, all right? And Constantine was heavy into pagan worship, all right? So all the pagan beliefs and all the pagan doctrines and things like that were absorbed into the Roman Catholic Church, all right? Now, continuing on, the Nimrod tree, our Christmas tree, originated in Babylon. Wreaths, branches, boughs, and trees were used by the ancient pagans as emblems of Nimrod. All right, the Nimrod tree. In actuality, the Nimrod tree was a symbol of Nimrod's phallus. All right, the tree is nothing but a huge phallus. All right. Wreaths, branches, boughs, and trees were used by the ancient pagans as emblems of Nimrod because they were thought of as the rebirth of the sun. Trees were decorated during the winter solstice. In Babylonian mythology, after Nimrod's death, he became the sun god. See, like I said, and also like I brought out in the other video, he was worshipped as Baal, the Lord, Marduk, Mithras, Ahura, Mazda, God, Aton, Dagon. And going back to what I read earlier, Satan comes in many names. All right, remember that. Pagans were absorbed into Christianity along with their pagan beliefs, with their tongue twist, with